Hi, I'm Jeff with PlanningPod, and now we're going to take a look at how to work with tables and chairs inside of a floor plan. So we're going to click on the Events tab to go to a floor plan inside of one of our events. We're going to click on the event here, and then we're going to find the Floor Plans tool, which is right here, and we are going to click on the arrow to get into it. This takes us to the summary page. Here is our floor plan we want to add items to. So we're going to click on the launch button. And this takes us to the floor plan area. You can see here are all the tools that we can drag and drop into our floor plan. If you click on the guest tab, this is the guest list that we have attached to this event. We'll discuss that in another video. So we're going to go back to the tools tab. And before we get started, here are some tools at the top here that remain consistent. They'll stay there the entire time, and we'll talk about those in a moment. But first, we're going to add a round table. So we're going to click and hold on the round table icon and then drag it into the floor plan canvas and then release the click. And this will take us to a form where we can add information about this particular table. First, we are going to add a table name and number. Then this drop-down menu allows us to select a chair type, and these are all standard banquet type chairs. By clicking on the color tile, we can select what color we want this table to be. And in the table dimensions fields, we can add dimensions for both feet and inches. And the table dimension for a round table is the diameter of the table. The service area dimension is the clear space around the table that you should allow for people to enter and exit the table, as well as for serving people. And a good rule of thumb is that you need to leave at least 5 feet or 60 inches of space between tables and 30 inches of space between a table and like a wall. So we're going to enter in our service area dimension in that regard. And then in this area, we can add the number of chairs we're going to place around the table, and then we'll hit the save button. And here is the table that we just created. To move a table, simply click and hold on it and then drag it across the canvas. Now let's look at those tool items on the top. The checkbox for showing the service or clear area lets us see the service area that we just created around that table, and that's just the clear space that we want to allot for people to move between tables. And if you want to zoom in or out on the canvas, you simply click on these buttons. Click on the minus to zoom out, click on the plus sign to zoom in, and then to reset the window, just simply click Fit to Window, and the canvas will scale to the window. Let's say you wanted to make changes to this table. You simply double click on it, and this opens up the yellow menu at the top where you can edit the table, you can duplicate it, you can delete it, you can bring it to the front, which means if the table is underneath another element, it will put the table on top of it, and you can send the table to the back, which means if the table is on top of something and you want it underneath something, it will push it to the back. We're going to edit the table details, so we're going to change the chair type. We're going to change the color of this table, and we are going to make this a 5-foot table instead of a 6-foot table. And we're going to leave 6 chairs around this table, so we'll hit the save button, and now here you can see the edits we have just made. Now let's say you want to make an entire row of this particular table, but don't want to add them one at a time. No problem, just double click on the table and then go up to the yellow menu and click on Duplicate. And this gives you the option to make one or more copies of this table. So we're going to click on the drop-down menu here, and we're going to select 6 more copies of this table. Once we hit the Save button, it will fan out all of the copies of this table. And note that these are exact copies, so you can always go into each one of these tables and edit it if you would like. So I'm going to pull all these out of the way so that I can arrange them. So I am going to use the service area as well as the background grid in order to arrange these tables side by side. That way they're all aligned and I have adequate space between each table for people to enter and exit. And it looks like I'm not going to have enough space for this last table, so I'm just going to pull that off to the side, off of the canvas. You can do that, no problem. It's just that if you print out this particular floor plan, anything off of the canvas will not print. And like I had said before, you can go into one of these duplicated tables and edit it and make changes to it accordingly. So I'm just going to change the table name and I'm going to make this a different color. And here are my changes right there. Now let's say for variety's sake you wanted to place square tables in this row, every other table being square. So we're going to double click on this table and then we're going to click on the delete button. We're also going to delete this table as well as this table. And now to add our first square table, we are going to go over to the square table icon, click, hold down, drag it and drop it where we want to place that table, which again pulls up a form where we can enter in the table name and number. We can select the chair type. We can click on the color tile and change the color of the table. We can add the table dimension, and since this is a square table, the dimension will be the dimension for each side, so each side will be 4 feet. We will then enter in the service area dimension, and you can place the number of chairs on each side of the table, and we are just going to place 1 chair on each side of this table. And once we are finished, we will then click on the Save button. And here is our new square table. I think this table would look a little bit better if it were rotated 90 degrees. So we're going to double click on the square table. We're going to go up to the yellow menu here and click on Rotate. And this pulls up a adjusting bar that at the end here displays the amount of rotation in degrees. And when you click on the lever and pull it to the right, as you can see, it increases the rotation of the table in 5 degree increments. Once you're done, just click off the lever and then you can click on the X icon to close the menu. And here's our newly rotated table. And now we're going to move some items around to space them out properly. But we're going to need 2 more square tables here. So we're going to double click on the square table we just created. And then we're going to click on the duplicate link in the yellow menu, and we're going to duplicate this table twice. So we're going to pull these out of the way for the time being. I'm going to move this table here. I'm going to drop this square table here and arrange things properly so that they're all in a nice straight row. And sometimes it's nice when you're done arranging something to turn off the service or clear area just to get a sense of what the tables will look like in the layout. And you can also here turn off the grid to get another sense of what your room layout would look like. Remember that I had said a good rule of thumb is to place tables at least 60 inches apart from each other, which is 5 feet. We can measure this here by clicking on the horizontal dimension ruler, which pulls out a ruler. To move the ruler around, just click in the middle and hold and then drag it around. And to adjust the length of the ruler, click on the double arrow icon there and you can pull the ruler to the right or to the left. And so we're going to make a ruler that is 5 feet wide. So there we go, and then we're going to drag it up and see if these are at least 5 feet apart, and they are. And each of these tables should be 5 feet apart from each other because I provided ample service area space, and they are. And remember that I had also said another good rule of thumb is to have your tables placed at least 30 inches away from things like walls. So we're going to create a vertical ruler here that's 2 feet and 6 inches, which is 30 inches. And then I'm going to go up here, drag it up there, and it looks like, yes, these tables are, that one's a little close, but it looks like they're all at least 2 feet 6 inches from the back wall. And once I'm done, I'm just going to pull these rulers off to the side in case I need them again. Okay, since we're having fun with tables, let's add some more. Now let's add an oval table. So we're going to go over to the oval table icon, click and hold and drag. We'll place it here for now. And that again pulls up a form where we'll enter in a table name and number. We'll just call this our display table. We'll add probably a few chairs to this. We'll designate a particular color for this table. And what haven't I selected yet? I think I'll pick this one. With the table length, when you enter in a table length, the table width is automatically calculated for you. So if the length is 8 feet, the width would be 4, creating a perfect oval. And we'll just add in a large service area here just to show you what that looks like. And we'll just put one chair at the top of this table, which is one of the long sides. So the top and the bottom are the long sides of the oval, which is where you would seat most of the people. We'll put one on that side and none on this side. And the check boxes are for adding chairs at the ends of the oval. So we're going to just add it to both ends to show you what that looks like. And here is our new oval table. I'm going to take these 2 chairs off of the ends of this table. I just want this to be a display table, so we'll have one chair at it for someone who may want to attend the table. So we'll click on the Save button, and then we're going to double click on the table here, and we're going to rotate it to position it against this side wall. So we're going to click on the rotate, we're going to drag the lever to 90 degrees, we're going to release it, we're going to close the menu, and then we're going to move the table into its position. And we'll click off the service area so that we can, because I think I'm going to edge it a little closer to that square table there. Now I know many of you are going to be using rectangular tables for things like banquets, and you'll probably place them end to end. So we're going to add our first rectangular table here. We'll add the name and number of the table. We'll again select a chair type. We'll select a table color. And for rectangular table dimensions, most rectangular tables are either 8 feet long or 6 feet long, and most rectangular banquet tables are 2.5 feet wide or 30 inches wide. So we're going to make this 6 inches long, 2.5 feet wide. We're going to make the service area length 6 feet since we're going to be placing these end to end, and we want 2.5 feet on each side for the width for the service area. So I'm going to add that to our original width, which makes 7 feet 6 inches. I am not going to be placing chairs at the ends of these tables right now, but I'm going to be placing one on both of the wide sides. So 3 chairs on each of the long sides of this table. I'm going to save it, and there is what our new table looks like. And another good rule of thumb for placing chairs at tables is, especially with rectangular tables, is to give at least 2 feet for each chair. So we're going to duplicate this table because we want to create 2 rows of horizontal tables. So I'm going to make 7 copies of this table, and then I'm going to pull all of these out of the way right now so that I can arrange them. So I'm going to start arranging them end to end here. And sometimes it's okay to do this when you're panned back like this, but sometimes it's easier to arrange things when you zoom in a little bit. So we're going to zoom in, and you can also pull the canvas by clicking in the blank canvas space and then holding down and moving your mouse so that moves the canvas itself. So now we're going to arrange these tables end to end. And I'm going to click on the service area here so I can see how far apart I need to space these tables. And you can see how I'm spacing these tables apart using the service areas so that, again, there's enough passageway between the tables and the aisles that we're creating here. All right, and we'll place this last one here. And now that we've placed these tables, I'd like to add some chairs to the ends of these rows. So I'm going to click on this table here. We're going to click on the edit button, and then I'm going to add a chair at the left, which will put a chair on the left end of that table right here. I'm going to do the same for this table. So I'm going to double click on edit, add one chair to the left. And then for this particular table, I'm going to add a chair to the right. So I'm going to click on edit, add one chair to the right. And then finally for this table, again, we're going to add a chair to the end on the right side. And here are our 2 rows of horizontal tables. So now that I've created my tables, I want to make sure that they're 5 feet apart from each other. So I'm going to pull out this ruler here that I'd already created. I'm going to click on the double arrow icon, and I'm going to create a ruler that's 5 feet. Ooh, you see that it disappears when it goes behind this. This means that this ruler was created before the tables, and so we're going to bring this ruler to the front. We're going to double click on the ruler, bring it to the front, so now you can see it lies on top of the tables. And so yeah, it looks like our tables are pretty much exactly 5 feet apart from each other, which is what we wanted. Finally, let's look at how to use a chair row. So we're going to click, hold, and place a chair row. And you may use a chair row for auditorium style layouts. We're going to select a chair type, the number of chairs in the row, the chair spacing. We recommend, or rule of thumb recommends, at least 3 inches apart for most banquet chairs since they tend to be somewhat narrow. And then the clear area around the chairs to give some aisle space. Once we click on save, we can then move this chair row around. And finally, to look at what we've done thus far, we're just going to go up here and click on to hide the service area. And here is what our table and chair layout look like thus far. Well, thanks for watching, and make sure to watch our other videos on how to use other floor plan elements, as well as how to place guests at chairs.